Program music. Before we look any further into the phenomenon of program music, let's take a look at the name itself. Indeed, all of you know what a program is. I suppose if you went to a dictionary, you would probably find a program described as a list of events. At least that would be one of its meanings, and you're used to receiving such a list of events when you attend a concert, a graduation, and these days even a wedding. Now, these rituals of life are not the only things that require or inspire a list of events. A list of events is also part of a plot that makes up a story. And this is the type of program with which program music is involved, as we shall see. Now, program music encompasses a number of subgenres, each with its own names. You hear works of this type that are called concert overtures, sometimes they are called tone poems, and we're going to hear one in this course that is technically a program symphony. We will dispense with these designations because I want you to focus on the phenomenon itself, what program music actually is. Once you know what it is, you'll be able to recognize it, whatever the title that is given to it. Now, program music, like the character piece, is an outgrowth of one of those beliefs that people held about music's powers during the 19th century. Although both character pieces and program music existed before the 19th century, the 19th century was the period during which these two types of music were intensively cultivated, and the reason was that people held beliefs that seemed to be supported by compositions of this type during that time. And the belief that inspired the intense cultivation of program music during that era was that music could tell a story. Now, no one of the time would disagree with the fact that words or images could tell a story, but the belief concerning music's power was such that people believed that not only could music actually tell a story, but that music could tell a story more profoundly and more accurately than any other artistic medium. In fact, writers and practitioners of the plastic arts turned to music for their inspiration because of this belief. Music was, as we know, first among the arts during the 19th century because of these beliefs about its alleged powers. Again, I'm going to tell you that these are alleged powers. Music does not have any of these powers that people have believed that they have throughout the ages. In fact, in and of itself, by its notes alone, music cannot tell a story. And in fact, you would have no idea what a piece of program was about unless you were given some clues as to what the work was about. And composers do this in various ways. Just as with a character piece, they often assign evocative titles to such compositions, and they leave the rest up to you. Some composers go so far as to provide a subtitle for a composition of this sort, and we're going to see that in the example that we're going to hear in this unit, as well as movement titles. And sometimes composers will go so far as to provide an explicit program of all the events that are purportedly captured in their works of program music. As you can see, whatever beliefs people might have had about music in the past or about program music in general, it's obvious that music in and of itself cannot actually tell a story. Now let's take a look at the characteristics of these works that were inspired by that belief about music's alleged powers. Program works can be very long. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a look at the last movement of a 5-movement program symphony. So a piece of program music can have many movements in it. Program music requires a substantial performing force. It requires an orchestra. So pieces of program music were written for concert use. Now, if you were to take stock of all the things that you've heard about program music, you would see that its characteristics stand in strong contrast to those of character pieces. And, in fact, I want you to be able to tell these two types of music apart from each other in terms of the 19th century belief that occasioned their intense cultivation, their relative lengths, the number of movements that they might have, their performing forces, and their cultural context. And in fact, there is a podcast devoted to this. And you will see that the differences between these two types of music are also rehearsed in considerable detail on the review pages as well.